And that is it, full time. Steven Gerrard gets that vital win that Aston Villa side required and needed desperately. There was a lot of pressure on the man, but guess what? They got the win. But before we get into this, please do smash the like button and please do subscribe. It helps more than you can imagine. Where do I start with this game? Not the most interesting and exciting Friday night fixture. Going into this game, you knew it was going to be cagey. Both sides haven't really been off to the best of starts. And when you look at this Southampton side, they're going through a massive transition. A lot of players in there that were not really too well known. A lot of Man City ex-youngsters coming through from the ex-academy coach. Lots of things like that. But Aston Villa got that win that they desperately needed to. And it wasn't a pretty win, but they got a win, and that is a huge thing because they've been playing well at points this season. They've had games where they've played okay, and they haven't got results. So tonight was huge for Aston Villa. Go through the starting 11. There's a few players really that stood out for me. I thought Tyrone Mings tonight was by far man of the match for me. He's my man of the match just to start off with. I thought everything about him was absolutely brilliant. He defended well. He was probably one of the most focal points for the attacks because, let's be honest, there wasn't really much attacking display going on from either side, especially Aston Villa. I don't think really they had 3 shots on target. Really is not good enough, but then Southampton had 1, and it was from Mara towards the end, and it wasn't really a shot, let's be honest. It was a header that it was basically a back pass. So really both sides weren't really great going forward, but Tyrone Mings for me was absolutely brilliant. And considering everything that's gone on with him off the field this season and all the things going on with the captain's armband and things like that, I think for him to perform as well as he has done this season, I really respect him for it because he's really stepped up to the plate. I thought Konsa was really good. Ashley Young I thought was great down that right hand side. I thought he kept Adam Armstrong quiet in that game because I thought Adam Armstrong had a really poor game. Luca Digne had a very good game. Oyanusi was woeful, let's be honest, down that right hand side. Gineppo was okay, but I think Luca Digne did really well against him. I thought Konsa was good. It's always good when you notice a defender doesn't really do much. I always think that means they've had a good game. Konsa and Mings, to be honest, were absolutely huge for them today. And then that midfield, I thought Jacob Ramsey had a good game, took his goal very well. Not an easy chance, let's be honest, on the volley. We see a lot of them skied a lot of times. I want to say straight away, Bazunu for me, Bazunu should have done better with that. I don't understand how he hasn't parried that over the bar. And also, why on earth VAR looked at that? Don't get me. How on earth VAR could even look at that? I don't understand it. That's what frustrates me about VAR because it ruins celebrations for fans because there's a possibility that it might be ruled out for VAR. Under no ground should it ever have even been looked at. So I don't get that at all. I thought John McGinn was really good. You could see he was leading today. You could see he was playing on edge. A lot of people have been pointing the fingers at him, saying he hasn't been great this season. You could tell he was fired up from the get-go. That first 2 minutes when he flew into Kyle Walker-Peters and other players, you could tell he was up for it. And for me, I thought he was great. I thought he really set the tempo. But from that onwards, I don't think it was great for Villa. I don't think that front three really did much. I thought Ollie Watkins had an okay game. He held the ball up well. He ran the channels well, but didn't really do much. Yeah, he kind of got the assist when he headed it on and the keeper flicked it back up, but didn't really do much. I thought Leon Bailey was dreadful today. Lost possession more times than any other player. It's not good enough, is it really? There's been a lot of question marks as a player. I'm just looking. He lost possession 25 times in the game. 25 times is simply not good enough. That is really, really poor. So for me, I'm not convinced still. Question marks him. Philip Coutinho was okay today. I thought he was better, but he's still lacking that end product. The player that we all knew of just simply wasn't there, and that's it really. It was an okay performance. Martinez had to make 1 save, so he didn't really have to do much, so he had a pretty good game. We'll talk about the Southampton side now. This is huge, by the way, for Aston Villa because it sends them into 13th place. So if we talk about this Southampton side, Bazunu had an okay game for me. I don't think he was great. He looked a bit nervy. I thought Kyle Walker-Peters struggled. Salisu, why on earth he did that? Those long throws aren't long enough. I don't understand why they kept trying it because it simply just wasn't working. Diallo wasn't bad. Armstrong wasn't great. It's just a bit of a nothing performance really. It's a woeful performance, embarrassing really from Southampton. I think you could see Hasenhüttl was absolutely fuming on the side and tried to make changes, made no difference. And that's the thing I think are going to really struggle with Southampton this season. Purely when you look at that side, it's not very good, is it? They do this every season where they'll pick up form and then they'll go through form and then they dip. The peaks and troughs are so different with the Southampton side. There's question marks when they say, oh, Europa League football, is it on? And the next thing you know, they're in the relegation battle. It's a really, really weird side, and especially at the moment when you look at that 11, it is simply not good enough. So for me, a dreadful performance from Southampton. Embarrassing is probably the word I would use. Not a single one of those players really, other than James Ward-Prowse, looked like they cared. And even then, James Ward-Prowse, I don't know, he looked off it, like his set pieces weren't great. Little things that you just expect with the Southampton side that weren't there. You know, when you look at the Southampton side, they're going to be tenacious, they're going to drive, they're going to have the energy, but there was none of that today. Absolutely none of that. And the thing is, for all we can say, Villa didn't have the best of performance. They were better on the day, and that's the biggest part of this because yeah, Villa were okay, but Southampton were just woeful. That's probably the worst performance I've seen from any side this season. I've seen some really poor performances so far from Villa and Forest and other sides, but it's a huge win for Aston Villa because it takes them up to 13th place. Yes, I know if results go other ways, they could drop back into the relegation zone, but it is a huge win because these are the kind of games when you're playing against sides that you know are going to be a relegation battle against, sides like Southampton, your Bournemouth, your Wolves, your Palaces, your Forests, your Leicesters, your Leeds, your Brentfords, all of that bottom half of the table. These are the games that Villa have to win more than anything. But when you look at the overall stats for this game, Villa dominated possession, they dominated shots, they set pieces. They constantly they look really dangerous from set pieces. I don't know if that was because Bazunu just looked really poor and nervous. I'm not sure. But the biggest thing for me today, I thought, was the duels won. And the aerials won, and the tackles won, because that shows you they are playing for the manager. 177 times they lost possession. That's not great, but it's the things like, it is simply the things like 28 aerial won, 80 duels won, 34 tackles. It shows you they're playing for the manager. You can see they've got something about them, and that's been the biggest question mark when you look at these Villa players. And the fans have been questioning, calling out individuals, and you've seen it. You've seen it all season. You saw it last season, but you saw them step up to the plate today. My only thing is, I'm still not convinced on Philippe Coutinho. People might disagree with me in the comments, but I was looking at his overall stats. 84 minutes played, 64 touches, 1 key pass. It's not great. He lost possession 18 times. And I get, obviously, when you're playing in that number 10 role, when you're more advanced, you want your player to take more risks, take chances. But for me, I prefer Buendia. I think Buendia does more. Buendia as well, he's a bit tenacious, he's a bit nasty, he's got a different side to him. But then I feel like Buendia now has been coming on from the bench and creating chances and things and hurting sides. And so he's kind of found himself and slowly become an impact sub, hasn't he? One player as well, sorry, Kamara. I thought he was okay today. Obviously, he had an injury after around 45 minutes, which is a shame because he started to look like he was slowly getting on the ball, slowly controlling play. And Douglas Luiz came on for him. I thought Douglas Luiz as well, sorry, I didn't get to mention him earlier. I thought was really, really good in this performance. I thought he was very good. Controlled play. You saw he dominated possession. 44 touches, 87% passing accuracy. Everything came through him, because I think when you play with players like Ramsey and McGinn, and they like to get on forwards, you need someone to sit and to be rigid in their formation and rigid in their position, and I thought that is what he did. He stuck to his position and he was mature in his position, didn't do anything fancy, just shifted it on, because you've seen sometimes Douglas Luiz, he loses the ball in positions where you think, what are you doing there? He played it simple, and that's what I thought really worked out today. So I thought Villa, they were okay. Still wasn't great performance from them, but I think there's things that can take from here that they can improve on. So overall, an okay performance, but Southampton, woeful. Relegation battle, and to be honest, if I look at that side, relegation form, that's a relegation performance. That is dreadful, woeful. They've got things to improve on, and they need to improve on it fast. But let me know, guys, in the comment section below, what did you make of the game? My man of the match was Tyrone Mings. Let me know yours, let me know your thoughts, but thank you for watching. BucketHatSam over and out. Thank you, goodbye.